I'm not being overly critical of Zhang Weili, okay? I am looking at somebody and I have an admiration. But I was asked a question today. Weili defeating Tatiana, does it prove that she is the best fighter in the UFC? Not in the division, or not even for women. Best fighter in the UFC. Which would mean surpassing. I mean, were you more impressed with Weili's performance that very night than you were with Dricus du Plessis' performance that very night? I mean, I'm being asked if Weili is the greatest fighter in the world, showing that she did that. Now, that's a debate that we change every Saturday, right? I mean, if Jon Jones fights, it's the best fighter in the world when we wake up. But a week later, there's a pay-per-view. Islam fights. He is the best fighter in the world when we wake up. We do that as fans. That's okay. But I'm just asking you, before I answer your question of did she prove to be the best fighter in the world, answer my question. Did she prove to be the best fighter of the night? And it is a little bit complicated. Like insiders, and I'm an insider, it was pretty impressive what she did. And I have to word it like that, though. I have to word it for insiders. It was very impressive because people don't know. Weili could have brought this up, but she didn't. Tatiana could have brought this up, but she didn't. Tatiana's managers and her team and her coaches could have brought this up, but none of them did. Now, I haven't actually Googled this. I haven't actually looked this up. This is to my knowledge, but I'm pretty confident that I'm right. Tatiana Suarez has never lost a fist fight. Okay? Tatiana Suarez has never lost a round in a fist fight. So now it's not just a matter that Weili did to her what no other girl could do to her, which was beat her. Weili did it 5 times. What no other girl has been able to do, which is to win a single round against Tatiana, Weili did 5 times. That is wildly impressive. I don't know if there's anybody ever been around to fighting where Tatiana didn't get a takedown. But Weili stopped her in 4 rounds from ever getting a takedown. I mean, there was a lot of firsts, which is where that performance by Weili would come in and be so impressive. But if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it make a sound, does it make a sound? Now, as obvious as that question is to yes, my father would tell people no. My father would tell people if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it make a sound, that it did not make a sound. And my father largely said that just to get somebody frustrated to create a level of conversation, but it was also an unprovable factor. And so I'm just wondering, like, if Weili's going out and she's beating girls who have never lost fights, who have never lost rounds, who have never failed to take somebody down, who have been anything less than dominant ever in the history, but no one knows it, does it matter? And the answer is no. If your promoter didn't bring that up at a press conference, it didn't happen. If your opponent or her team or her manager don't bring it up at a press conference, it's not true, perception-wise. And Weili herself could have brought it up, but she didn't, which is why Weili does not deserve or is not going to get credit for doing it. What Weili is doing as a talent is fascinating. If you understood the inner workings of why China is having her and allowing her to do it, I think that you'd really be captivated. I think you'd be greatly captivated to hear the geopolitical reasons that China has allowed Weili to go out and compete in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. I think you'd find that fascinating. I've heard other people tell me, do not bring politics into sport. It just upsets people. But I think that Weili's very fascinating, but I don't think you're sincere when you try to tell me how great you think she is. I don't think you're sincere when you tell me how wonderful you think she did Saturday. I don't think you're sincere when you tell me that me doing a video pretending that I fell asleep was disrespectful. I don't believe you really believe those things. I believe you just say that to virtual single. Let me ask you some questions. I'm going to make real effing easy. No tricks here. Real easy questions. Does Weili have a brother or sister that fights? Are Weili's parents involved in her career? Who is Weili's manager? Who is Weili's trainer? What gym does Weili represent? Guys, there couldn't be anything easier. There'd be no way for you to be a fan and for me to ask you easier questions than those. I don't think you knew the answer to a single one, because I don't think you're interested in Weili. I think Weili was right where she needs to be, kicking ass in a co-main event that people were not interested in. I don't think there's anything coming out the backside. I don't think if I was to ask you who should Weili fight next, that you could even produce a meaningful name. And that's one name. You got to get 2 or 3, right? Like you got to get some conversation going, and then we'll settle in and figure out who it is and who the rightful one is. I don't think you could produce a name. And that isn't a put down to you. It's just a real lesson for Weili. She has proven to be a dominant fighter. She has proven she could get herself in the right state physically and mentally to be a very good fighter. What I'm challenging is, does she have what it takes, skill and understanding wise, to be an interesting fighter? And if you tell me yes, you, friend, are a liar.